The Atlanta Hawks had the number one overall pick. Great for them, but I have some questions now. What do they do? Because I feel like now is the point where they got to look at rebuilding, obviously. But here's what's tricky about it. I fully believe that the better player in their backcourt overall is not who the face of the franchise is. As great as Trae Young is with the number, I'm not even gonna say just the numbers because his offensive production is real, right? But I'm conflicted on him because on one end, I don't typically go into you can't win with this player as your best player thing because you never know who can win until they actually do it, right? But on the other hand, I'm a strong believer of you're not going to get very far if your best player isn't a plus defender because now you have somebody who you need on the court for extended periods of time and when it matters the most, and they can get picked on, not just in the sense of mismatch hunting because that's kind of gotten overblown with the way the game gets looked at, but just being used as a chess piece in general. Maybe you throw him somewhere on the opposite side, you run this action over here and let him get lost over there, whatever the case is. I say all that to say the Hawks have a lot of stuff to figure out. They have the number one overall pick, and they have these questions about Trae Young looming. I think DeJounte Murray may be a better player as far as who you want to build a team around. But I'm gonna go to y'all because y'all been looking into the draft. I haven't gotten a chance to yet, and I'm kind of just babbling. So, what do y'all have on the Hawks and what they should do now that this number one pick is secured?
I think every option should be on the table. This is one of those drafts where we get one of these drafts every once in a while where there's no clear cut favorite draft pick. So like they can go a number of ways. They could choose to trade one of them, trade both of them, and just restart and build around Jalen Johnson. We've heard interest. The Spurs are interested in taking one of their guards, and the Spurs got the number 4 pick, I believe, and 8. So they have ammo to make trades. So you can put some stuff on the table. Hawks have kind of fizzled out after that Eastern Conference run, Eastern Conference Finals run in 2021, but. Yeah, man, they have way too many weaknesses. It's really, like you said, it's really hard to build a team around Trae, just because of everything else has to be compatible with him in mind. But if there's anybody in the league that I would want to pick to pair with Trae, number one option would be Wemby. Just everything that he can do on the defensive end with size, and that's a great start. And then Trae, his passing ability, his scoring. I think if San Antonio does acquire him, that's a perfect matchup, and giving Pop a chance to have a guy like that talented and fine tune him and get him to reach his maximum potential. That's really exciting. As somebody who's a fan of a team that's in the same division as Atlanta, I'm really interested in what they do. But they have a lot of options, and I think everything should be on the table.
No, yeah, absolutely. Obviously the biggest domino that has to fall is whether they trade Trae Young or not. Like it starts there realistically because, this is a draft that's very up in the air. Personally, I think they should. I don't even know where they should go in the draft. I think it all depends on what they want to do with Trae Young. How much do they want to hand the keys to DeJounte? Are they trying to win now? Or are they trying to rebuild? Like, are they the rookie, whoever it may be, who they bring in? Are they trying to see what they have out of this rookie? Or are they just trying to get a rookie that can fill a role? And basically they think in their mind that they can compete to a certain level in the East next year. And they're just trying to find add another piece to it. I think those are all questions that need to be answered. Maybe not publicly, but within the organization prior to draft day. And in my opinion, if they should move on from Trae, because I do think some team around the league, I think believe that he has a lot of value in him. So they're willing to offer some things. Maybe not in this draft. Maybe you want another future draft, so you could whatever it may be. But acquire assets for Trae. But I think their pick, regardless, should be between 3 people. I think it should be Topic, Sarr, and Castle, and it completely dependent on what they want to be their identity of their franchise going forward. I think all three of those players can provide something interesting for them, whether it be, Topic basically coming in as a new point guard. Like you're trading Trae, you're getting the truest point guard in the draft, in my opinion so far, and Nikola Topic, handing him the keys alongside DeJounte Murray. And you're going to play a slashing game because him and DeJounte, aren't really shooters like that, but they like to operate in the midi and attacking the rim kind of areas. So you're going to do that more, or you're going to get Stephon Castle and you're going to be like, DeJounte, we need you to go back to your San Antonio all defensive team ways. We're going to pair you guys with Onyeka and Jalen Johnson, and we're adding Stephon Castle, and our goal is to, keep him under 105 or 100. So it's truly fascinating to see which way they go. And obviously Sarr, I think, is personally, he's probably the best player, quote unquote, even though not to me, but I don't think they should go that way. They got Onyeka, who I think is fucking really, really good. And they got Jalen Johnson, who just blew up this year. I don't know if you move him to the 3-foot. So they got so much shit to figure out, but this is, they got blessed. They literally got blessed. It was the second highest pre-draft position jump in NBA history, aside from the 93 Magic, who were 11 and jumped up to 1. There's some teams that had better odds because the NBA redid the whole probability thing a couple years ago, but still the second highest jump since 1993. They've been whether they wanted to or not. Now they're, in my opinion, I think the NBA forced their hand to trade Trae Young in a sense. So we'll see what the fuck they do. If I was a betting man, I agree with Frankie. I think Trae is in San Antonio.
So here's my question, just real quick. Who should the pick be if they keep Trae, or who should the pick be? And who should the pick be if they trade Trae?
Oh, man. I haven't gotten into the top of the drafts yet. I think I still think they haven't decided what. I like Okongwu a lot, but I don't think they've decided firmly that he's their 5 of the future.
Yep.
And Sarr has a lot of potential, athleticism, and I think it would benefit him, his size and his profile, and the film of what I've seen. I think he's a 4 early on anyways. He's a guy who needs to build strength and would be better suited as a weak side rim protector as he gets stronger and bigger. And pairing him with Okongwu, and I think Jalen Johnson
can move to the 3.
Can play the 3. He played a lot this season, so I think they'll be fine there. So I think Sarr should be the pick as of right now. Either way, I don't like Topic for them because you run into a lot of the same issues that Murray and Trae did, especially because they're not strong off-ball guys, and that's one of Topic's weaknesses. So I think Sarr is probably the best fit for most teams right there. Either way, I think Sarr would be the guy, and depending on what they get back from San Antonio, might change that answer too, if that's a trade.
Hello.
No, 100%. I think they should take Sarr. The Topic thing is more of do they want to explore? Do they? How much are they swinging for offensive upside? Again, it's an identity thing. There's personally, I don't think there's a world where Topic is an elite level defender like Sarr could be just right away. However, there's not a world where if both players were to hit their offensive ceiling, Sarr is nowhere near Topic's offensive ceiling, just because he could be your point guard for, he could be an all-star caliber point guard for years to come, slashing very much like Goran when he played. Very similar games, just one is 6'6". So it's it depends what they want. Personally, I think they should go Sarr unless they're what, we gave DeJounte this contract. Our plan is also to move him at a certain time because let's face it, his contract is plus value. I think they got him for a steal. And if that's really the case and you really want to hand the keys to somebody, I think Jalen, I think Topic, handling, as a, bigger point guards, bigger wings, whatever you want to call them, just bigger playmakers in general. I think that's an area where the NBA is going. And I think for that, it makes sense. But ultimately, I would take Sarr if I'm them. The only reason they should take Topic is if they have a very fucking clear-cut idea of just handing the keys to this kid, because he could bust. There's no surefire. out of these three guys that I'm talking about, like there's a chance that they're just literally role players for their whole career, which is, you know, like Frankie said, it's one of those drafts. But if you're shooting for, you know, the only one in my opinion who has a glimpse of superstar potential out of those three players I named is Topic. So
I agree. And that brings me up to my counterpoint. Like you said, Lou, DeJounte's contract is a huge plus value. Mm-hmm. He's a guy who's ready to win now. He's a borderline all-star every year. It might be best suited to just flip this shit over. Like, sell hard, move all your assets. Capella's got like 1 year left after this one.
Fernando played good for them this year too down the stretch.
Fernando Johnson is a surefire rotation guy in the league. Definitely looks like a starter. Our MIP candidate this year had an outstanding season. Mm-hmm. Might be just go young, like no pun intended. But they have options to just blow this shit up. I know this isn't a strong draft, but like if you look at if you can get the 4th pick from San Antonio. In a trade for one of them and then move the other guy for some future assets and future young guys, you could really restock and rebuild this thing. And we know they've kind of plateaued with this build as is. I would be way more interested in that, in just doing that. If I was a fan of them, and if I would just rather blow this shit up, sell high on both of them. Point guards are really, really hard to find right now. And they've got 2 of them that you can plug and play for most teams.
Yep.
So I don't hate that. Just get rid of everybody, and then just look forward to Cooper Flag probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
If that's the case, if they do for some, and this is a hypothetical, if they do end up with 1 and 4 for some reason, I think you take Sar 1, and then 4 you take like Dillingham, and you're like, we got essentially. In no way am I comparing Alex Sarr to fucking Victor Wembanyama or fucking Dillingham to Trae Young, because they're not even remotely close. No. But we have like the super great value versions of that. We have a defensive specimen at 7-1, and then we have just a barn burner offensively in Dillingham.
And Dillingham arguably has like the most offensive upside in the draft.
Yeah. So if they do that and they end up with 1 and 4, like. And obviously this isn't a last year draft, but Kobe Buffkin was one of my fucking guys last year personally. Give him some fucking run too. With Dylan, like, man, they need to make their mind up. What Frankie said, I'm for. If I'm a fan of them, like just blow the whole shit up. Like do what
OKC.
Do what OKC did. Do what the Wizards did practically last year when they were like, yep, Bradley Beal's gone, and I mean, honestly, nobody else was worth anything on their team. So, but yeah, just do that. Like Daniel Gafford's gone. Like we don't care anymore.